Welcome to part one of setting up the Power Platform Centre of Excellence within a fully fledged Dataverse environment. So, in this video, we're mainly going to cover prerequisites and initial environment setup that's going to house all of the Centre of Excellence components. So the first place we find ourselves is in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So you are going to have a privileged account to be able to access this, but assuming that's the case, we find ourselves at admin.microsoft.com. Once here, we're either going to create an account or select an account that we're going to use as our Power Platform God account, if you will. So in this, I am just using a regular user account. A couple of things to call out. You're going to want to make sure that it's mail enabled. You're going to want to ensure that it's either global administrator, which this account is, or an account that is specifically assigned the Power Platform administrator role, or equally a Dynamics 365 service administrator. So at this point, we've got the account, it's mail enabled, it's got sufficient access, in this case by way of the global administrator role. Next, we're going to want to come to licensing. And for this, we're going to recommend that for this account, it has a Power Apps per user plan license. This is going to make sure that you're not going to be limited or not able to use any premium features of the Power Platform that may be in use within the Centre of Excellence. So we're talking about custom connectors, we're talking about premium connectors, and also some of the throttling limits that are greater with a fully paid for license, which you can somewhat get around by notching them down a bit, but it's going to make your installation and experience of the Centre of Excellence that much more difficult. So I think if you are, as a business, going to invest in having a Centre of Excellence, I think it warrants having a Power Apps per user plan license, especially if that's the first license that you're going to have of that type within your organization. We now find ourselves within the Power Platform Admin Center. So admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com, or I like to get to this by going to aka.ms/ppack. On the left, under resources, we're going to take a look at capacity. Now that is similar to other Microsoft 365 services. Some of the limits are pooled and you get a certain amount per licensed user. The same is true for Power Platform licensing, but that initial user will give you an uplift of 10 gigabytes worth of database storage, basically. Why is that critical? Because each environment that you create, you need to have 1 gigabyte of space available. And your normal user allocation is only going to be a finite amount and not 1 gigabyte. So that initial user license can go a long way to putting you in a good position to manage the Power Platform within your organization, not just from an environment for your Centre of Excellence, but for environments for application lifecycle management purposes as well. So having one for dev, having one for test, and having one for production. Of course, other users that are going to make use of those elements will also need to be licensed. So it certainly doesn't circumvent that, but in somewhat, when we're talking about the Centre of Excellence, you may only want a subset of administrators to access some of the Centre of Excellence components. So it's less of a, we've got to do this for every user. So coming back to the Centre of Excellence, we've got sufficient capacity, and we're critically making sure we've got 1 gigabyte of space available to create an environment for our Centre of Excellence. We're going to ignore the Centre of Excellence here that was created in a Microsoft Teams Dataverse environment. Worth calling out, you do have the ability to shift from a Dataverse for Teams and upgrade it to a fully fledged one, but we're just going to go straight ahead and create a new environment. So with environment selected on the left, we're going to select new. I'm just going to fully name this rather than do COE just to avoid any potential conflict. So we're going to do Centre of Excellence. Critical decision point is the region. And in our case, we're going to want to select United Kingdom. Type, we're going to do production. Now, we definitely want to create a database for this environment. Basically, think for solution management and Dataverse. You could do pay as you go with Azure and do it subscription based. It's a bit of a catch-22 for me, that licensing model. It's great if you infrequently access premium features, so maybe months apart, but essentially once a user goes in to make use of a premium feature, it goes through the motions of paying for like a fully fledged license that you would pay on a monthly basis anyway. So if you're going to continually do it, it's not always as cost effective as you might think. So you do need to look at the ins and outs of that. And we're now going to click on next. Here we're going to choose a suitable language. Don't know why you can never get an English United Kingdom, because there are differences. But anyway, for us, we'll go with English United States. For URL, we're going to keep that as is for the purpose of this video. Again, you'll want to select the best currency or the main kind of business currency, if you will. Enable Dynamics 365 apps. That is something that you cannot come back to and change. So because we know the purpose of this environment, I am still going to leave that at no, and we don't want to deploy sample apps and data. We're also going to leave the security group default for now. And we'll click Save. We now have our environment that's ready to be home to us importing the Centre of Excellence components within it. So I'm going to leave the video here for now. We've got our account, we've got our environment. The next video in the series will look to importing the core components of the Centre of Excellence. Thank you for watching.